Good afternoon. I'm Saad Al-Aziz, the owner and head instructor of Semper Fortis Jiu Jitsu here in San Antonio, Texas, and here to tackle this week's question of the week. So this week we had a question from one of my students asked how to get out of like the self anger, judgmental, almost self-hate mode that he sometimes feels when he's training, and so it's a question that everybody deals with. It's like it's a challenge that everybody deals with. So for instance, jiu-jitsu is, in your training, you're going to go through these like hills and valleys. There's going to be days that you're going to feel like a world beater, and there's going to be days where you feel like, do I even know what I'm doing anymore? And my best advice is just don't take yourself so seriously. Just realize that some days you're going to come in here and you're going to be the hammer, and you're going to be giving it to people. And then some days you're going to come in here and you're going to spar and you're going to be the nail. And it's like you're just going to be, on the losing end of these matches. And they're literally chess matches. Like I have had training sessions where I've come in and I felt great, where like all my techniques were just working. Then I've had training sessions where I've come in and it's just nothing seemed to work, and you're like, what is going on with my jiu-jitsu? And a couple things happen. And the reason I say it's a chess match is realize that your training partners or your opponents in competition, when you have sparred or you've competed against each other, they go home and they think about like what went wrong and what things could they do to change that, as you should be doing too. So like if you come in here and you spar with somebody and you get the better of them, that person probably goes home and thinks about it, and they're probably like, hey, I couldn't get out of side control, and maybe they work on a new side control escape. And then the next time you roll with them, you're like, I can really hold this person in side control. This isn't a problem. And then they immediately get out. And then that might change the whole outcome of how the roll ends up, because now instead of you being able to dominate them in side control, they're escaping, and now they're back on offense. So just realize that as your jiu-jitsu evolves and you constantly improve, so do your training partners, or so do your opponents. An example I give is I had an opponent who I've competed against many times, and they almost always very tight, challenging matches that come down to points. And then we met in the Pan Ams a couple years ago in the absolute division, and this person had studied the tapes of our previous matches. And I used to always do this judo grip where I would put my hand deep in your collar. And that led to a lot of successful takedowns for me in tournament jiu-jitsu. It was my favorite grip. I did it almost every single time. I fought to get that grip. And as soon as I got that grip on my rival, there was like a glow in his eye, because he had prepared for that grip. And he immediately, I thought he was pulling guard to prevent me from doing my judo takedown, but what he really did was put his foot on my hips as he fell back and then twisted his body. And because my hand was caught in his collar, he was able to get at an angle and do a mirror lock on me. And so like in 15 seconds, the match was over, which was, I was stunned. I thought it was going to be another one of our, because traditionally me and this person, we have grueling matches that are decided by points, and now I have just lost this match in 15 seconds. And as we stand up, he's got this huge smile on his face, and he pats me on the back, and he's like, "Back to school for you, Saad." And that sucked. I was like, it's like, but don't take yourself so seriously. It's like, I wasn't thrilled about losing like that, but I have to respect the fact that he went to the drawing board to figure out why I was getting takedowns on him and what he could do to counter it. And instead of me constantly evolving and changing my grip, I did the same thing I had done in our previous matches, and he instantly made me pay for it. And so I tell that story because The same thing will happen in here when you spar with your training partners. What works one day, if you're constantly hitting the butterfly sweep on somebody one day, there's a good chance that person is going to go to the drawing board and ask somebody, hey, what things can I do to counter the butterfly sweep? And they'll add that to the game, and then the next time you roll with them, you're thinking, oh man, I'm going to hit this butterfly sweep on them, and they stall you out. Like, now your butterfly sweep isn't working. And it's not because your butterfly sweep got bad, it's just their jiu-jitsu got better, and they developed a counter for it. So you're going to go on these roller coaster rides, and these roller coaster rides are good because that's going to make you better. Because when something you do that you've been good at is now being stifled, you're going to either get better at that by doing more repetitions to get even better at that technique that you like to use, or you're going to develop counters to whatever they're doing to stifle your technique, which will make your jiu-jitsu better. Or you'll just develop another technique to go to, so when they think you're going to do this, you end up doing that. And that's the chess match. It's like, it's not telling the person, hey, I'm going to armbar you and then armbar him. It's, I'm going to make you think I'm trying to armbar you, and then maybe I hit you with a sweep, or I hit you with a triangle or an omoplata. Like I'm trying to distract you with this to hit you with this. And that's jiu-jitsu. That's the chess match. And that will have you thinking about it on your whole car ride home. You may stay up, tossing and turning in your bed at night thinking, why didn't this work? And that's what keeps me coming back. So like I've been out for a while with an injury. And so as I've been rolling lately, coming back from this injury, my jiu-jitsu's not at the level that I would like it to be. But the only way to get better is I have to come in, I have to take my lumps, I have to get smashed, I have to meet failure, and I'll overcome, and it'll get better. And it's the same thing for your jiu-jitsu growth and journey. So it's a struggle we all deal with. You're going to come in here some days, everything's going to work, and then you're going to come in some days and nothing's going to work. But try to stay steady. Don't get too excited when everything works, and don't get too down when everything don't work. Just stay steady, keep training, keep working, and you'll keep making improvement. And that's all we can do, is try to be better today than we were yesterday, and strive to be better tomorrow than we are today. All right, that's it for this week's question of the week. If you got a question for next week, fire a comment down below, or if you have some input or insight on my answer, you can feel free to make comments. All right, ciao.